Tonight on Sincere Love the Godcast, we're examining whether Malcolm X would have agreed with foundational Black American delineation. Some critics point to clips of Malcolm speaking about Black unity across the Americas as proof that he would oppose specifying lineage. We're going to slow that down. We'll play the clip they use, and then break it down in context. We'll also examine other statements where Malcolm was very specific about what was owed to Black people in America, and where he clearly distinguished between Black Americans and immigrants. Was Malcolm advocating vague global identity, or was he strategically building alliances while still centering Black Americans? Let's deal in facts, not projections. You are now tuned into Sincere Love the Godcast.
Yo family, real quick, I'm proud to announce the soft launch of Sincereluvdagod's new book, From the Womb to Illmatic, a hip-hop inspired blueprint for unlocking your child's inner genius. This ain't your average parenting book, this is for the culture, inspired by Illmatic, built around his own son Seven's early development, and packed with real tools to help parents turn everyday moments into genius-level learning. If you've ever wanted to give your child a head start without losing your roots, this book is for you. Available now on Amazon. Order now and leave a 5-star review. You already know, we raising brilliance around here.
Hi, I'm Seven, and I'm the Super Harry. That means I ask big questions, I make big moves, and I come from something powerful. In this series, I grow through change, embrace my culture, and unlock the gifts that my ancestors gave me. These books are for kids like me, kids with heart, with pride, and with big dreams. Come join the journey. Collect all 4 Seven the Super Harry books and unlock your power. Available on Amazon and Kindle now. Order your copy today.
Here's the way it is. You live in direct relation to the poets, the heroes, and the sheroes you have. Always honor the elders. Then you honor yourself. Honor women. You honor yourself. Honor men. You honor yourselves.
Okay, what's up, family? Hold on, let me get this together over here. All right. Peace, family. What's good? Welcome to another episode of Sincere Love the Godcast. I am the God Sincere Love. Back in the house once again. But I'm solo dolo today. I don't got my lovely co-host with me. But shout out to Nicety Girl. She's out having a good time right now. You know, they got All-Star Weekend out there in LA. All-Star Weekend out there in LA. So I know she's out there running the streets, doing her thing. And I think it's her cousin's birthday as well. So getting it in. Hold on. Am I good? Can y'all hear me? Mic check, mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Y'all let me know if I'm good. Y'all let me know if I'm good. I don't know what that was just now, but hopefully I can still be heard. And if you can hear me, make sure you hit that like button. If I can be heard, family, make sure you hit that like button and share this out on your social media platforms. Let everybody know that we live. We got some stuff to chop it up about today. Y'all don't mind the typo in the chat. I pinned my comment in the top of the chat. It got a little typo in there. Y'all disregard that typo. But respond to the question though. Respond to the question. Do you think Malcolm X would have opposed delineation if he were alive today? Rest in power to Malcolm X, by the way. Rest in power to Malcolm X, by the way. But yeah, Shout out to my lovely co-host, Nicety Girl. Happy birthday to her cousin. Hope they out there having fun, being safe, doing their thing. But I'm here, and it's good to see y'all here with me. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. And like I said, as y'all coming up in here, hit the like button. Share this out. Let everybody know that we're live. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, man. Hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you can be reminded whenever we upload new content to the channel or whenever we go live with a new episode of Sincere Love the Godcast. We do this every Sunday around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time. Somebody said no. If you're saying no, that means you can hear me. How you gonna say no? if you're saying no, that means you can hear me, right? I asked if I could be heard. Somebody said no. I'm good, right, family? My audio was good. I'm good. We here? We here? Y'all let me know. I'm good, right? Yeah. No doubt, no doubt. Shout out to JD. What's that? JDN. I don't know. I don't know your name. JDN Vid Shield, something like that. JDN Vid Shield. I don't know. Something like that. But shout out to you. Shout out to R Boone 57 in the building. Y'all come on up in here, family. Y'all come on up in here. Shout out to Hank X5Q. Boy, these names. These screen names. I don't know. But shout out to y'all. Y'all come on up in here, man. Y'all come on up in here. But that's today's topic, man. That's today's topic because, you know, a lot of the tether class, they like to try to use Malcolm as a shield. They like to try to use Malcolm as a shield. And they talk about his mother's lineage. She was from Grenada, I believe, somewhere in the Caribbean. I believe Grenada. Malcolm X's mother was from, but his father was the FBA. But they try to say, he's an example of a non-FBA person who came over here and put in work or whatever the case may be. And so I don't know what they be trying to say. Don't get me to. I'm not good at tether babbling. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, my bad, bro. My bad, bro. You see, you were saying no to something else. You were saying no that Malcolm X, if Malcolm X was alive today, you were saying no, he wouldn't oppose. Okay, got you. All Malcolm X actions were FBA style. Elaborate on that. Shout out to Muhammad P. Haram. I don't know if I'm saying your name right either. Perham, Muhammad Perham, 55333. Yes, Malcolm X would have been on the FBA side. I mean, he was FBA. That's, you either you FBA or you're not. It's not about being on the side. But I understand what you're saying. But just to be clear, it's not about being on FBA side or not being on FBA side. The question is, would he agree with delineation or not? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Mark Smith in the building. What's going on? Shout out to Buffalo, New York. Shout out to Buffalo, New York in the building. Yeah, y'all let me know what cities y'all coming in from. Y'all let me know what cities y'all tuning in from as y'all coming up in here too. Parham. Okay, yeah. Salam alaikum, brother. Salam alaikum. But yeah. So yeah, the question is, we understand he was a foundational Black American. Yes, his mother was from Grenada, so he does have lineage that goes to the Caribbean as well. But he was still a foundational Black American. You know what I'm saying? But the question is, would he agree with the delineation movement? Because people try to make it seem like the delineation movement is divisive, and it is divisive. Actually, it is divisive, but they try to make it seem like it's divisive in a non-constructive way. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely divisive because it's necessary to separate the wheat from the chaff. You understand? You know what I mean? Sometimes division is good. Sometimes you do got to divide yourself from some bullshit. So it is divisive, but they try to make it seem like it's divisive in a non-constructive way. You know what I'm saying? And so the question of the day, the discussion that we having today is, where would Malcolm X fall if he were here today? and we're going to get into the discussion. We're going to play some of the clips, and we're going to get into it. Wilmington, North Carolina. Shout out to North Carolina in the building. Shout out to North Carolina in the building. I'm in a North Carolina state of mind right now. I've been listening to J. Cole for basically since 2026 started. I've been listening to nothing but J. Cole, and the new album, The Fall Off, has been in heavy rotation for the last week or so. It's been out for a little bit more than a week now. A little over a week now. That joint been in heavy rotation for me, and that album, particularly the Fall Off album, is very North Carolina. It's very North Carolina. And so I'm in a Carolina state of mind. Shout out to North Carolina. Shout out to South Carolina. Shout out to y'all. The divisiveness is constructive. That's right. We're being divisive with a purpose. That's right. Shout out to y'all. Okay. We got the On Code family in the building today. Where's the Tethers at? The Tethers will probably be here a little bit later on. I got to make sure my mods is on deck because the Tethers will the Tethers are definitely going to show up when they see this title in this thumbnail. The Tethers will be here. So but right now we got the family in the building, I see. Oh, you said that was corny how he did Cam? Uh we only heard Cam's side of it, right? And so based on Cam's side of the story, I can agree with you on that to a certain degree because, again, we only got Cam's side of the story. And J. Cole just responded, not publicly, he didn't make a statement or nothing on social media, nothing like that. That, Cole don't really get down like that, but he responded to the lawsuit asking for it to be dismissed. I don't know if the court made a judgment on that or whatever, but they did a motion to dismiss the lawsuit. That for those that don't know, shout out to Muhammad in the building. But for those that don't know, Cam filed a lawsuit against J. Cole for non-payment. I think he was saying he didn't get paid for, I don't know if it was the joint he did on Might Delete Later or it was the joint that he did on the off season. Cam was on both of those albums. He was on the off season album. He just did like the intro. But on Might Delete Later album, hold on, I might have that backwards. One of them he rhymed on, one he didn't rhyme on. I might have that backwards, whichever one it was. But one of them, or maybe both of them, he's saying he didn't get paid for. And what made him decide to file the lawsuit against J. Cole was because he said he's been trying to get J. Cole to come on his podcast for a minute, and J. Cole basically been giving him the runaround, dicking him around. I don't got all the details off the top of my head. I did hear him speak on it, but I know he said that J. Cole told him he was going to come on, and every time it was time for him to come on, he would hit him up, and J. Cole would have another excuse. Not now. We can do it another time. I'm not ready yet. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? He was giving him the runaround. So yeah, based on the way it sounds, listening to Cam, based on the way it sounds, yeah, Cole, you gotta make that right. You gotta make that right. And if he didn't get paid, for the records, what's that about? That's a paperwork issue. But Cam been in the business for a long time. I'm sure he's not going to just do nothing off of no handshake as far as music and making a guest appearance and all that. I'm sure he's not going to just do nothing off a handshake like, okay, I know you got me. Nah, Cam going to want his publishing and all of that. So I don't know. I don't know all the. That's like I'm saying. We got to wait to see when all the details come out about that. I'm not really passing no judgment on it as of now. But I'm bumping that Fall Off album though. I know that. I'm bumping that Fall Off album though. Yes, indeed. And I'm also bumping the new Jill Scott album. How many of y'all heard the new Jill Scott albums so far? To whom it may concern. Shout out to Junebug in the building. Los Angeles in the building by way of Muskegon, Michigan. Okay. Flintshire struggles and strength. Regardless of moving the last message. I didn't remove no messages. I don't know. Shout out. My mom's in the building. I got any mods up in here? I didn't remove any messages. I don't know what you were saying. If one of my mods might have removed your message or something, I'm not really sure. Said, believe they lurking. Yeah, you know they lurking. You know that. That Jill Scott album is fire, man. That Jill Scott album is fire, man. Jilly from Philly is just incredible, man. Like, it's like she ain't drop an album in what, 10 years or something like that? And she just come out the blue and just give y'all a classic. Like Jill Scott could just drop a classic whenever she feel like it. You know what I'm saying? She just assembles some of the greatest musicians on earth, go in the studio and just put together a masterpiece. Very timely record, very timeless record. I think I'm gonna do a review on it. I think I'm gonna have to do a review on the Jill Scott album. I should have did a live reaction when it came out. I should have did a live reaction when it came out. I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't do that. But that album is bananas. That album is bananas. I'm loving it. I'm love right now. It's like I'm torn when I get in the whip. I'm like, damn, am I gonna throw on the fall off or am I gonna throw on this Jill Scott album? I don't know. I gotta put my finger in the wind and just, you know what I mean, see what type of mood I'm in right now. Because both of them, I got both of those in heavy rotation right now. You know what I mean? Probably not since he's of mixed heritage himself. What does that mean? So if somebody if a foundational Black American has a non FBA parent, that means they wouldn't understand the importance of delineation. I don't know. Is that what you're saying? Shout out to Black Women Stand Up in the building. First on time in the building. Oh, first one time in the building. It was emoji signature with thumbs up. Channels. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what happened with the comment. I don't know what happened with the comment. But yeah. Let's get into some stuff. Should we get right into the main topic? This is gonna be an interactive live, man. You know what I'm saying? I need y'all energy. I don't got my co-host here with me. So y'all in the chat, y'all gonna be my co-hosts this evening. All right. I appreciate y'all tapping in. Y'all could, I know it's All-Star weekend. Yeah, it could have been a lot of things, other things y'all could have been doing. But since y'all here with me, I need y'all to participate. So should we get right into the main topic? Or should we touch on a few current events before we get into the main topic? Let the room fill up a little bit more and then get into the main topic. How y'all want to do this? Said you forgot it was out. What, the Jill Scott album? You forgot the Jill Scott album was out? Or the J. Cole? I don't even forget the J. Cole album was out. But yeah, Jill Scott, man, incredible album. Incredible body of work. I mean, her whole catalog is like that anyway, so it's not like it's surprising or anything, but it's still just so refreshing. I was saying, Jill Scott, she got this ability, like her music, it sounds fresh and brand new, but it sounds so familiar at the same time. It sounds like something that you already know. You know what I'm saying? You listen to the album, it's like these songs, it feels like you've known these songs all your life. But at the same time, it still sounds fresh and new and timely. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the topics that she's talking about. A lot of stuff that she's talking on. There's some deep topics on this album. All her albums, there's some deep topics. But it's some very, again, timely topics on this one. She came through. Yeah, check it out, man. If you ain't listened to that yet, you gotta put that one on, fam. You gotta throw that one on. She like Nina Simone of Neo Soul. She's like a lot of people. She's like a lot of people. I definitely, I could see the Nina Simone thing because this album, it's like all different genres of Black music in one body of work. Like it's all there. The blues is there, the jazz is there, the R&B is there, the soul is there, the hip hop is there, the dance music is there, the go-go music, it's all in there and it's seamlessly, like it just flows together seamlessly. It doesn't sound like it's all over the place. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful body of work. Should we be celebrating Malcolm since he's of mixed heritage? We can't claim Black History Month if we do that. I don't know what you're saying, Willie Hickson. What does that have to do with anything? I don't know what that has to do with anything. All of the great artists from the past could make a killing if they release albums and tour today. Mainstream music today is trash. Mm, Mainstream music, for the most part, always been trash. That's not new. Mainstream music, what they always had to strip down our art forms and package it in a way that's palatable for the masses. So mainstream music has always been trash for the most part. You always get real artists that break through here and there. You know what I'm saying? You always get the cream going rise to the top, eventually. But for the most part, we get inundated with a lot of watered down bubblegum versions of our music when it comes to the mainstream. Shout out to Crew Reality in the building. B1 fam. But a lot of artists from the past are making great music right now. I mean, we just came out of 2025. Mass Appeal just did the whole Legend Has It series. I don't know if you was up on that, but and just in hip hop alone, a lot of the legends is outside right now. A lot of the legends is definitely outside and touring and all that. Um, Dionne Warwick is got a show coming up out here in Atlanta. Dionne Warwick, how old is Dionne Warwick right now? Dionne Warwick got a show coming up. New Edition is out here on the road out here. Like just so many. A lot of legends are still out here. They still doing it. But also, a lot of the newer generation artists are putting together great music as well. You can't just dismiss the new generation outright. But I know you said mainstream. You did qualify it by saying mainstream. And so what the mainstream pushes to the front, like I said, it's always going to be watered down to a certain degree. So that's expected. But there's definitely a lot of gems out there coming from the younger generation. So I think we're in a good space as far as music. You know what I'm saying? Especially, with, the technology and the platforms that are available to us now. It's not like we only have to be subject to what the mainstream boost and promote. You know what I'm saying? We're able to curate our own playlist now. We're able to find the gems that are out there on our own now. We don't have to just listen to what they play on the radio. We don't have to just listen to, what they put in front of us on MTV and BT like back in the days and shit. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know what I mean? It's dope artists go on your timeline and check out some of them artists that's trying to promote their music. Some of them independent artists that's on your timeline trying to promote their music, and you just keep on scrolling because they're not affiliated with a major label or because they don't have a co-sign from a major artist or whatever the case may be. You just keep on scrolling. You don't even give them a chance. Sometimes stop the scroll, click on that shit, and check them out. You'll find some gems. There's a lot of gems out here. You know what I'm saying? You can go check out my shit. You know what I mean? I'm available on all streaming platforms. Sincereluvdagod. My latest body of work is called The Master's Table. Go check that out. Half bloods are the Trojan horses. I don't agree with that, Willie Hickson. I disagree with you on that. You know what I'm saying? I disagree with you on that. Um, you got some people who not FBA at all who are writers. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Donate to what? Hank 5X. You said, where do FBA donate? Donate to what? I don't know what you're asking me. I don't know what you're asking me. But the question was, family, should we dive right into the main topic and deal with the main topic? We got almost 100 people in the room right now. 95 of y'all in the room right now. Hit the like button and let me know. Should we dive right into the main topic, or should we catch up on um, some of the other current events out here? Y'all let me know what y'all want to do. Like I said, I don't got Nicety Girl here with me. So y'all gonna be my co-host. Oh, you saying how do you donate to me? My Cash App, Godcast ENT, $Godcast ENT on Cash App, or you can hit the super chat. You can hit the super chat as well. But the Cash App is $Godcast ENT. If you wanted to send something my way, I appreciate that. Go read Malcolm X books. The Pan-African movement was useless. There are a lot of people with admixture in their DNA. Yeah, I mean, shit. I don't know what that got to do with anything. D from BK said, I'm bi-ethnic, FBA, and Bayesian. F anybody who got a problem with that. Okay, so we got a bi-ethnic brother. That's a brother, right? D, you a brother from Brooklyn? Got a bi-ethnic brother. His one of his parents is FBA. Another one of his parents is from Barbados. So let me ask you, brother, do you think delineation is constructive or non-constructive? Where do you stand at with the delineation movement? Let me ask you. What about the girl talking about taking us out? Yeah, I saw that. I saw that video. I was gonna do a breakdown just on that video alone. But shout out to my brother Chase McGee. I see Chase McGee put out a video. I didn't get to watch it yet, but I see my brother Chase McGee on the Foundational Black Americans channel. If you're not subscribed to that channel, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to that. But he just put out a video on that. I know he did a thorough breakdown. on that. So it probably ain't even no need for me to touch it now. But I did see that. And I don't have it. I would play it here just in case some of y'all don't know what he's talking about. I would play it here. But there was some. Where was she from? Where was she from? There was some African girl. I believe she was African, who was out here talking about she wanted to get rid of all foundational Black Americans. Basically, she wanted to. I got to watch my words on here. You know, she was talking about being very violent toward foundational Black Americans and all of that. Talking about wiping us out altogether. ASAP Rock is Bayesian and consider him a writer. He supported Tariq and a lot of works. Yeah, I know ASAP Rocky is cool with Tariq, but I don't know if I would put him in the writer category though. I don't know. I don't know. I've seen some iffy things from ASAP Rocky. If you ask me, I definitely wouldn't put him in the writer category. I ain't gonna throw him under the bus, but I don't know if I would put him in the rider category just because he cool with Tariq. You know, it's necessary because please believe the other groups do it all day. Okay, now that's from D. D from Brooklyn, who is bi-ethnic. I forgot who the other person was who was disqualifying people just for, you know, having mixed heritage or whatever. But D from Brooklyn, who is of FBA and Bayesian descent, says delineation is necessary because please believe other groups do it all day. That's a fact. That is indeed a fact. You know what I forgot to do? Let me get my screen share ready. Hold on a second. Let me get my screen share ready. Okay. Hold up. Hold up 1 second. All right, so I got to do it that way with this one. Actually, no. Let me do it. Let me add another scene and just put my camera up here. Boom. Let's do it like that. Let's do it like that. All right, cool. So when I'm ready, my screen is ready to share. All right, cool. Tariq got on ASAP ass a couple years ago. I kind of remember that too before they met, because I know he came to the premiere for the documentary, the hip hop documentary. I know ASAP Rocky had came to the premiere. I forgot, you know, how they linked up originally, but I do think I remember Tariq calling him out at first. So I don't know, maybe the call out led to some type of resolution between them. And shout out to the family sending the cash apps. Appreciate the cash app from FBA, one of the FBA riders. I don't know if you want me to say your government on here, brother, but shout out to Henry. I'll just say that. Shout out to Henry for the cash app. I appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that. ASAP has been problematic in the past with his ideology. Yeah. Shout out to Tiffany. Let me see. Y'all still didn't tell me, so I guess y'all don't want to help me with the broadcast today. Y'all still didn't tell me what direction y'all want to go in, but it's all good. Let me see. If they are not calling out their people, I can't say they are riders. Good point. Good point. They do it all day and don't let us in. Mm-hmm. Blue X said Godfrey a rider. I like Godfrey. I do like Godfrey. Black Americans are an admixture of European and yeah. Okay. All right, so yeah, we're gonna since we here, let's just get into it. Since we talking about the Malcolm thing, we got 133 people in the chat right now. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all hit the like button. And let's just go ahead and get into the main topic. So would Malcolm X have agreed or disagreed with the delineation movement? That is the question. Let me get myself on the screen. But I'll make this bigger. That should be good right there, I think. Or maybe like this. How about this one? That's probably a little bit better for y'all, right? That's probably a little bit better for y'all. So I'm gonna play this video right here because this is one of the videos that a lot of people like to use to say Malcolm X would have been against delineation because he was Pan-African and he was for unity of black people all over the globe and all of that. Which, by the way, I'm for that too if it's practical. You know, by the way, I would agree that it would be better. It would be better if we had more riders in the diaspora, and we could actually unify with the global black family and get on code with each other. I agree that that would be better, but it's just not practical. You know what I'm saying? And foundational Black Americans, we've tried that. We've tried that for decades to no avail. We've been the only ones that have been on that type of time. And now we just had to come to the realization that, you know what, we wasted a lot of time with this whole Pan African idea, trying to get everybody on the same page. And it has weakened us. It has made us vulnerable and susceptible to sabotage, undermining, all the tetherism that goes on and all of that. Us having that Pan African mindset, not necessarily being like Pan African as far as being a part of one of these organizations and waving red, black, and green flags or being a Garvey or none of that. When I say Pan African, I'm not even necessarily talking about that. You ain't got to be Dr. Umar Johnson, but I'm just saying the Pan African mindset has been a part of the foundational Black American culture just innately. We've just automatically viewed Black people, no matter where they're from, no matter what kind of accent they got, as being one people. You know what I'm saying? That's just how we were because of a lot of reasons. You know what I'm saying? But the main thing is just the way that slavery went over here in America, in the US, the way that slavery took place here, and even through Jim Crow and all of that stuff, that whole entire process, the way blackness was set up here, there was no they didn't have all of these different um color caste systems like they did in a lot of other places. In a lot of other places, they played games with these different color caste systems where they had all of this. Everybody was black, but just based on skin complexion and all of that shit, they put them in different categories and gave them different levels of privileges and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Which created this tribal mindset. There was already tribalism prior to all of that on the continent, but I'm just saying throughout the diaspora, it created this tribal mindset that we just didn't have over here. You know what I'm saying? Because we were all lumped into one group. We all had to be together and work together and figure things out together as one. And so we thought everybody else that looked like us felt the same way that we felt, understood the same way that we understood. And we just coming to realize that we was wrong about that. You know what I'm saying? We just have to face the reality that we was wrong about that. And it's better that we focus on ourselves. It's better that we focus on ourselves and that we get our shit together so that we can have strength. In order for us to unite with anybody in the first place, we can't come from a place of weakness. You know what I'm saying? We got to come to the table with strength in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Which is one of the things that Malcolm X was talking about. So let's get into this video. Let's get into this video because that's one of the things that Malcolm X was talking about anyway. Let's get into this video right here. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button, family. And I don't know the full context of this video, by the way. I don't know where he was at. I don't know who he was talking to. But let's just listen to what he was saying.
Most people, when we say Afro-American, they think only of the Negroes in the United States. But they don't realize that 2/3 of Brazil consists of people of African blood, which means they're also Afro-American because Brazil is in South America. And in all of these, many of these countries in South America and Central America, and even in Canada, they are heavily populated with people whose ancestors came from Africa. So when you totally...
Let me stop it right there real quick. Let's discuss that. Let's stop it right there and discuss. Let's stop right there and discuss for a minute. So he said, when most people think of Afro-Americans, they only think about, hold on a second. Hold on, let me shout out. Regularly. Damn, let me get your name right. I appreciate you becoming a member of the channel. Let me get your name right though. I appreciate you for joining the channel. Regularly. That's your name, right? Shout out to you. I appreciate that. So he's saying when people think of Afro-Americans, they only think about Black people in America. But little do they know that there are Afro-Americans in Brazil. There are Afro-Americans in Cuba. There are he started naming all these different places throughout the Americas that also have Afro-Americans. Is he correct about that? Does that statement jive with what we're saying now, or does it contradict what we're saying now? Just that part of the video. We're only going to just deal with that part of the video for now. I want to gauge the chat. Just based on that part of the statement right there. He's saying when most people think about Afro-Americans, they only think about Black people in America, but little do they know there are Afro-Americans in Brazil, there are Afro-Americans in Cuba, there are Afro-Americans in Canada, there are Afro-Americans in Mexico, all of these different places, there are Afro-Americans. Is that true? And does it jive with what we're saying now, or does it contradict what we're saying now? I want to get a gauge from the audience. Is that true what he's saying? And does that agree or disagree with what we're saying in today's time? Somebody said it agrees with the delineation movement. Panama Black said Malcolm X was a tether. We might have to get don't block him. Don't block him. Let him live, but that's a troll comment right there. Let me see. Hold on. I gotta slow this down. The chat going kind of quick. What? Oh man, come on, man. I think Malcolm would agree with delineation. Malcolm was very keen to the specific experiences Black folk here in the States had. Shout out to what's that? Rhonda 1135. Shout out to you. Yes, and all of them have their own ethnicities. Right. Okay. That was a true statement. Okay. They are the descendants of chattel slavery that built those nations, so they are foundational Black, insert whichever country they came from. Okay, Debo. Shout out to Debo. He's correct, but I've never heard a Brazilian, for example, call themselves Afro-American. Good point. But I have heard some of them refer to themselves as Afro-Brazilians. Right? They do that. Some of them. Uh, you might as well say Tupac and Biggie are tethers. Well, Tupac got to do with anything. Malcolm X, he was talking about this. He was talking in the 60s, 60 years out of context. That's why that's why I'm asking the question. In today's context, how does that statement fit? That part of his statement, how does that fit in today's context? That's why I'm asking the question. Shout out to my brother First Work Media in the building. It's true, but it doesn't conflict with delineation. Okay. We know Biggie wasn't FBA. We know that. Pac was though. Somebody said something about Tupac. Pac was definitely FBA all day. I think brother Malcolm would agree with delineation. Okay. Okay. I don't know why y'all talking about Pac and Biggie, but have at it. He's correct in the sense. Damn. Sorry, the chat going too damn quick. Sorry. He's correct in the sense that they all have African DNA. Okay, now that's the second part of the statement. Okay, so let's move on to the second part of the statement. And so the second part of that statement, and this, is I'm paraphrasing here, but basically he said there are Afro Americans all throughout the Americas, meaning there are black people who are of African descent. No, that wasn't how he said it. Because he basically said they were brought here from Africa. That's what he said. All of the black people in all of these countries were brought here from Africa. That's what he was saying. Do y'all agree with that? Do y'all agree with that? He was saying that the black people, not just us, foundational black Americans here in the US, but the Brazilians, the Cubans, the Jamaicans, the Mexicans, all of the black people throughout the Americas were brought here from Africa, was his statement. Do y'all agree with that part of it? We need to promote foundational black lineage to all nations in the Americas. So you saying they all should be saying they're foundational black Jamaicans, foundational black Brazilians, foundational black. We ain't got time to be trying to get I mean, that's the point of we focusing on ourselves. Only thing we can do is be the example. Trying to drag all of these people to the water and get them to drink. Again, that has weakened us. Only thing we could do is be the example. Okay, y'all talking about Biggie and Pac in the chat. I want to know if y'all agree with what he said when he said we were all brought here from Africa. Because I know a lot of y'all got a problem with that. I know a lot of y'all got a problem with that. Some of y'all say we ain't got nothing to do with Africa. We ain't African at all. Some of y'all say America is the motherland. And what y'all be saying? Mississippi is Egypt. What y'all be saying? I don't know what y'all be saying. Mississippi is the real Egypt. What y'all be saying? The Mississippi River is the Nile, and I don't know what y'all be saying, but I know some of y'all wouldn't agree with what Malcolm X said right there at all. So I want to see if it's any of y'all in here with me right now. I'm not saying we should start Pan-African foundational movement. I'm just saying let them adopt it. Yeah, I understand, but I'm just saying the only thing we could do is be the example. You know what I'm saying? Be the blueprint, like we always do. If Malcolm met Candace Owens and Byron Donald, he would delineate. Good point. Said Malcolm is not FBA. Malcolm is FBA. What are you talking about? And you got a Black American heritage flag in your thing. Fast paced 4861 said Malcolm X is not FBA, so he wouldn't agree. Malcolm X is FBA. What you talking about? So most of the people here agree that we have African DNA. That at some point we came from Africa. At some point, most of y'all here agree with the second part of what he said there. Should I continue with the video now? He is right, and he was talking about the slaves who were brought into the Americas. Okay. Majority of the Africans were brought to Brazil. That's a fact. It's been so much corruption of our native heritage. That's a fact too. And the thing about it is, it's not a simple story. It's not a simple story. It's very complex. You know what I'm saying? Our story has to be told holistically. And it's not just a clean, simple story to tell. It's very layered, it's very complex. You know what I'm saying? And there's been a lot of mess thrown in the mix. So we got a lot of cleaning up to do as far as the history is concerned. You know what I'm saying? I'm fine with him saying that. Okay, let's continue with the video. Let's continue with the next part of the video. Because the question that I had for this video was, does this video prove that Malcolm X would have been against delineation? Because that's how some of the tethers try to use this video and other videos from Malcolm. But I see this one a lot. Tethers try to put this video out there to say, see, Malcolm wouldn't have agreed with y'all. So let's continue with the video.
Up the number of Afro-Americans, real Afro-Americans, in the Western Hemisphere, there are perhaps 100 million. And if these people ever unite among themselves, not only is it necessary for the Afro-Americans in the United States to be organized, but it's also necessary for the Afro-Americans in the Caribbean, or the Afro-Cubans, the Afro-Brazilians. It's necessary for all of them to be organized. And then once they are organized in each place, we have to organize among ourselves. So that...
Boom. All right. Let me stop it right there. So again, the question that I had was, does this video prove that Malcolm X would have been against delineation? Don't sound like it to me. Don't sound like it to me. It don't sound like it to me. Malcolm was saying everybody need to get their shit together in their respective countries. Everybody needs to unify and get on code with each other in their respective countries, and then we could come together and form a united front. That's what it sounded like he was saying to me. It don't sound like he was trying to erase the uniqueness of foundational Black Americans, or trying to say that we all just one big nigga. It sounded like to me he acknowledged the uniqueness of everyone's heritage, but he spoke of some underlying principles that should be able to connect us. But he said, but first, key word was first. He said, no, couple of key words. First key word was if. First key word he said was if all of these Black people in all these different places were able to unite with each other where they're at in their homeland. If they were able to unite and get on code with each other in their homeland. That's a big, humongous if. That's a major if right there. And then the other key word he said was first. He said, first, unite amongst yourselves in your homeland. Get your shit together where you at. Look toward each other. Pool your resources. You know what I'm saying? Circle your wagons around your lineage, your heritage amongst yourselves so that you can get your weight up. You can get your strength up. I believe that's what we're doing. I believe that's what the delineation movement is about. You know what I'm saying? It's not about being anti anybody. It's about us circling our wagons around our unique history and culture and focusing on ourselves, pooling our resources together, channeling our energy amongst ourselves so that we can get our weight up and hopefully set the example and be the blueprint for others to do the same. Because look, it don't take everybody. It don't take all foundational Black Americans to get on the type of time that we on. It just takes enough of us. It don't even take the majority, family. Understand that. It don't even take the majority. It just takes enough of us to be on the same page with each other for us to have strength. Same thing in all of these other places. It don't have to be all of them. It just have to be enough of them to where it makes sense. It can't be a couple of individuals that you could point to here and there that's shaking shit up, making some noise, making some sense, that you could point to here and there, because that's what they try to do. They'll point to one or two riders from Africa somewhere, the Caribbean somewhere, South America, point to one or two persons in the history of niggerdom, not even now. They point to one or two people in the entire history of the damn country that was a rider, and try to use that as an example of why they're on code. No, you got to get to a point where you reach critical mass. You know what I'm saying? And so us foundational Black Americans getting on code with each other, getting our weight up, getting our strength up over here. I'm talking about really getting our strength up, not just the mindset. It begins with the mindset. You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about get to the point where we really are establishing institutions, building infrastructure. You know what I'm saying? Siphoning resources from this government that is owed to us. You know what I mean? Claiming the debt that is owed to us, and getting some of the things that are owed to us, and really getting our weight up over here, right? And so once we do that, if we can look out to the diaspora and see others doing the same thing, then it would make sense to connect. That's what it sounded like Malcolm X was saying to me. That's what it sounded like he was saying to me. Let me play some more of the video. So yeah, this doesn't prove that he would have been against delineation. This actually solidifies that he would have been on code with us. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why y'all be trying to send me this video talking about, see, Malcolm X wouldn't agree with y'all. I don't know why y'all use this. This don't work in y'all favor, Tethers. This don't work in y'all favor. See, because the truth stands on its own. The truth stands on its own. It always validates itself. And so Malcolm X was a truth teller. So no matter what clips you try to dig up and pull up of Malcolm X talking Pan-Africanism or whatever, Malcolm X was a truth teller. So when you unpack it and put it in context, it's always going to coincide with what we're saying because we're standing on truth. And so truth always verifies itself. Let's continue with the video.
The Afro-American in the United States will be working in conjunction in a coordinated program with those who are in Cuba and those in Brazil and those in Venezuela and those throughout the Caribbean and Haiti and in the West Indian Islands. And in this way, we actually get strength. And it's not an accident that there's no organization existing in the Western Hemisphere that's designed toward that end. It would be a direct threat to imperialism as it really exists and to colonialism as it exists in the West. And one of the things that's going to help to bring this about is the independence of Africa. And one of the only reasons that we in the West have never organized, we have hated our image and our African image. And because Africa has been in the hands of people who have created an image of Africa that's negative and hateful. And of Africa, and we become proud of our African blood, our African heritage. And this is what is beginning to make the Africans in the Western Hemisphere today develop more race pride. And as this race pride develops, then it has the tendency to make us want to unite together and work together. And your Western imperialists and colonialists consider this to be a grave threat, more threat than communism or Marxism or socialism or anything else. The Africanism is what they consider.
And that's Patrice Lumumba that they're showing on the screen. So I don't know if he's in Africa here, or I don't know where he's at and who he's talking to in this clip right here. But that's Patrice Lumumba that they're showing in the video.
To be the real threat. Most people, when we...
All right. So let's deal with some of that. And so what I want to say here. First, a couple of things I want to say. First thing I want to say is this is not Minister Malcolm X in this clip right here. This is El-Haj Malik Shabazz, by the way. This is not Minister Malcolm X. This is El-Haj Malik Shabazz here. This is Malcolm X after he was exiled from the Nation of Islam, after he made a few pilgrimages to Mecca and to Egypt and traveled to Africa and all these different places and all that. You see, he got the beard in the video. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I don't know when this video was. I don't know where he was at, but based on the beard in the video, that wasn't the spokesperson for the Nation of Islam right there. You know what I'm saying? Because if we're going to deal with Minister Malcolm X, you definitely going to be dealing with delineation there, because when you study the teachings of Elijah Muhammad, he was focused on foundational Black Americans. Okay, he was very much focused on foundational Black Americans. So just to be clear on that, this was Malcolm X later on after he had left the nation, and I don't really want to get into the type all of the things about the type of time that he was on during that time, but he was trying to ingratiate himself with people in the civil rights movement and the mainstream. He was trying to kind of sanitize his image a little bit, because he was ousted from the Nation of Islam, and he had made so many enemies in mainstream America and in the civil rights organizations and all of that stuff. And so he was kind of on an island by himself. You know what I'm saying? So this was Malcolm, where he was trying to sanitize his image a little bit and ingratiate himself with the mainstream and with the civil rights organizations. So that has a lot to do with why he was talking the way he was talking as well. Right? So let's be clear about that. Right? And now the other thing about this video is, because a lot of people who are sending me the video, like I said, number one is Tethers, and number two are the Pan-Africanists. And so really what Malcolm X was talking about in this video was focusing on the Americas. He wasn't even talking about Pan-Africanism. He was talking really about Pan-Americanism, Afro-Americanism. That's what he was talking about. He was saying this Afro-American identity, like somebody was saying earlier in the chat, he was saying this Afro-American identity doesn't just include foundational Black Americans in the U.S., but this Afro-American identity applies to Black people throughout the Americas. And if we all get on the same page and look at each other as one group, we would no longer see ourselves as a minority. That would increase our numbers. It's kind of like, basically what he was advocating for, and what he was saying that there should be an organization working towards that end, is exactly what the Hispanic thing was all about. The term Hispanic applying to Spanish-speaking people all throughout Latin America, all throughout the Americas, whether you're from Puerto Rico, whether you're from Cuba, whether you're from Mexico, whether you're from Venezuela, whether you're from any of these Spanish-speaking places, Panama, you fall under the umbrella of Hispanic. That was something that they came up with in the early 70s. That was some shit that they started doing really in the early 70s. They came up with this Pan-Latino designation in order to have more numbers, so that they wouldn't be so disaggregated and they wouldn't be these tiny minorities in their own little pockets, which they actually are. So their leaders, Hispanic leaders, they basically took the blueprint of what Malcolm X was laying down right here and said, you know what, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Because if we just focus on ourselves as being Puerto Ricans, we don't really got that much numbers to move the needle. If we just focus on ourselves as Mexicans, we don't really have as much numbers and much strength to really move the needle. You know what I'm saying? We're still this tiny minority. So what we should do is we should form this Latino coalition, and we all identify as Hispanics, and we all fall under that Hispanic umbrella. So now we become a majority minority, and we have more strength to be able to move the needle and get things done for our people. That's what they did. And that's basically what Malcolm X was advocating at that time. He was saying, damn, Black people throughout the Americas, if we all got on the same page in one group, then we can work together to overthrow imperialism. That was smart. That was intelligent. It was smart. It was intelligent, but it wasn't practical, because the way, like I explained earlier, the way that blackness was looked at over here is not the same way that blackness was looked at in these other places. They had all of these different color-coded systems going on over there. All these different color cast systems going on over there that confused the hell out of everybody. They got all of this mejora raza in their, you know what I'm saying, in their culture. You know what I'm saying? Where they try to aspire to whiteness. You know, if we could just whiten up a little bit, if we can get over here to the US and we can lose our accent, then, you know, we can kind of blend in with the white folks. That was what they aspired to. We never aspired to identify with the slave master, with the imperialists. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have that mindset. That wasn't even an option over here, because you could be the reddest red bone and your ass was still out there in the fields picking cotton with the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? Even if you was in the house, you know what I'm saying, in the kitchen or whatever the case may be, you were still a slave. You weren't treated like part of the family like the French did and like the Spanish did in some of these other parts in America. They treated them like they was part of the family. You know what I'm saying? They gave them a higher status. They didn't really do that over here. And so that confused the hell out of them. You know what I'm saying? Whereas with us, it worked against us in a different way. It made us see ourselves as one group, yeah. But then it made us see all these other people as being part of the same group also. But the problem is, they didn't see it that way. And so we wasted a lot of energy trying to unite with all of these people. You know what I'm saying? And so shout out to the Cash Apps coming through. Appreciate the Cash Apps. Again, the Cash App is $Godcast ENT. $Godcast ENT. And let me check the chat, see if any of y'all, I don't want to miss the super chats. Make sure I shout y'all out too. But yeah, that's the type of time that Malcolm was on at that time. So he wasn't erasing anybody's uniqueness. He was just looking at the commonality, the things that we had in common, and saying, yo, we should unite around this. You know what I'm saying? That's what he was saying. But he was acknowledging everybody's uniqueness at the same time. So it wasn't erasure, which is what they try to do to us. They don't have no problem with acknowledging their own unique heritage, their own unique identities, waving their flags around. They don't have no problem acknowledging that. They delineate on their own terms, but they want us to be invisible, though. We have to be invisible so that they can eat. You understand? And so that's the problem. And that's why delineation became necessary. But let's be clear, because people like to cherry pick these clips, even if that was, which it wasn't, but even if you did low key find a clip of Malcolm X saying something that sounded like it contradict what we got going on, which I haven't seen one yet. But even if you was able to dig something up like that, y'all like to cherry pick shit. Because I could show y'all where Malcolm X did understand. Hold on, what's going on? Can y'all see me? Why is my screen black? Jamaican parents born in England and watching at 12:35 a.m. Very interesting. Certified salute. Shout out FBA Convo in the building. Let me get this up here. Let me show y'all this video, which to me, this is one of the videos that prove that Malcolm X would have easily understood the necessity of delineation, because he was early. He was on this type of time early. Let's hear Malcolm X in this clip.
Are you prepared to go into the United Nations at this point and ask that charges be brought against the United States for its treatment of American Negroes?
Oh, yes. Please. I think you're right in my opinion. The audience will have to be quiet. Yes, as I pointed out when I was doing my traveling, that African nations and Asian nations and Latin American nations look very hypocritical when they stand up in the United Nations condemning the racist practices of South Africa and that which is practiced by Portugal and Angola, and saying nothing in the UN about the racist practices that are manifest every day against Negroes in this society. Even in South Africa, those Africans aren't faced with bayonets and aren't faced with police dogs. I would be not a man. If I was in a position to bring it in front of the United Nations and didn't do so, I wouldn't be a man.
Malcolm, do you intend to lead the charge in the United Nations?
Well, I find that to say you're going to lead something creates a lot of hostility, division, jealousy, and envy. I hope to work with any group of leaders or any group of organizations to do whatever is necessary to see that this problem is brought to the country.
Malcolm X was already sounding like us. What y'all talking about? And by the way, that was after he left the Nation of Islam also. That clip right there was after he left the Nation of Islam also. They asked him, do you plan on going to the United Nations and bringing the issues of foundational Black Americans to the United Nations? And he was like, oh yeah, for sure. He said, for sure. He said, because I've been traveling all around Africa and I'm talking to these leaders and all of that. And I'm saying, yo, y'all be going to the UN complaining about the colonialism and the imperialism that y'all experiencing over here. And y'all don't say shit about what's going on with us over there in America. Because foundational Black Americans, we are expected to fight for all of these groups. We're expected to fight for everybody. But nobody's fighting for us. Nobody fight for us. And Malcolm was calling that shit out. He said, yo, y'all going to the UN. Y'all got a seat at the UN. Foundational Black Americans, we don't have a seat at the UN. You know what I'm saying? We don't have a voice at the UN. But if we supposed to be one, right? We all supposed to be one. Pan-Africans. We one group. You supposed to be my brother. Why you ain't speaking up for the shit that's going on over here? Y'all see these dogs getting sick on us. Y'all see them spraying us down in the street with hoses and all of that shit, bombing our churches and all that. Y'all see what the fuck going on? But y'all got a seat at the UN and y'all don't say shit about that? Malcolm was calling that shit out back then, sounding just like us. Huh? Sounding just like us. So y'all tethers are not going to be able to shield yourself behind Malcolm X. Y'all not going to be able to steal moral authority from Malcolm X. He's one of ours. Not only is he a foundational Black American, but I'm talking about the mindset. He's one of ours. So you're not going to be able to steal moral authority from Malcolm X. You're not going to be able to shield yourself behind Malcolm X. I just showed that's Malcolm X sounding just like us. Huh?
Are you prepared to go into the United Nations at this point and ask that charges be brought against the United States for its treatment of American Negroes?
Oh, yes. Please. I think you're right.
Look, even the reporter acknowledged our uniqueness. The reporter made a delineation because the Africans, the people on the continent, they already have seats at the UN. They already bring their grievances to the table at the UN. So they're asking Malcolm, do you plan on bringing the specific grievance of the Negroes in America to the UN? So even the reporter made a delineation between us and them. Listen to the God, though.
The audience will have to be quiet. Yes, as I pointed out when I was during my traveling, that African nations and Asian nations and Latin American nations look very hypocritical when they stand up in the United Nations condemning the racist practices of South Africa and that which is practiced by Portugal and Angola, and saying nothing in the UN about...
You know what I'm saying? Y'all understand racism, imperialism, colonialism, and all of that shit when it's happening directly to you, but y'all act like y'all legally blind when it come to us, though. Y'all don't see what's going on over here. Y'all legally blind all of a sudden. When it come over here, when it come to us over here, he said y'all look real hypocritical. Tethers.
The racist practices that are manifest every day against Negroes in this society. Even in South Africa, those Africans aren't faced with bayonets and aren't faced with police dogs. I would be not a man. If I was in a position to bring it in front of the United Nations and didn't do so, I wouldn't be a man.
Malcolm.
So he's saying they're not men. He questioning their manhood. He's saying what kind of men are these that you are in a position to bring these issues to the United Nations and you don't do so? He brought their manhood into question. You know what I'm saying? So again, you Tethers are not going to be able to hide behind Malcolm. I'm going to show y'all another example. Hold on. I'm going to show y'all another example. Again, the question is, would Malcolm X agree with the foundational Black American delineation movement if he were here today? I think this video is the end all be all that answers that question. I know a lot of y'all seen this video before. I think this video right here answers that question.
You're right there. I would not limit our employment demands to Negroes. I would include Puerto Ricans and other minorities throughout our country, which have been similarly discriminated against, though not for so long a period of time as Negroes.
Puerto Ricans weren't enslaved. Yeah, this is a problem that stems from slavery. And this compensation, yes, sir, this compensation is coming.
He delineated immediately. He got real specific. Hold on, who's the compensation coming to, Malcolm?
To people who were enslaved by the white man for 400 years. The Puerto Ricans don't even fit into this picture.
Well, they do fit into it.
No, the problem is the Negro problem. They're not lynching Puerto Ricans.
If a dark-skinned Puerto Rican went down to Mississippi, he probably would be lynched too.
Y'all Tethers be sounding just like this right now. Y'all Tethers and y'all Pan-Africanists, y'all be sounding just like James Farmer right now. Y'all be coming in our spaces and in our comment sections saying the same dumb shit. If a dark-skinned Puerto Rican went down to Mississippi, he'd be lynched just as fast as you.
Spanish, he wouldn't be lynched.
No, they don't.
It's the Negro here, and as long as he speaks Spanish or some other language, or if he ties his head up with a turban or something, he can go anywhere in Mississippi or in your home that he desires.
You're not aware of the fact, are you?
Keep it a buck, Malcolm. Keep it a buck, Malcolm. It's the same way today. It's the same way today. Don't they prioritize Tethers when it comes to some of these set-aside programs? Don't they prioritize Tethers? Some of these affirmative action programs and these DEI programs and all this stuff that was supposed to be set aside for foundational Black Americans. Don't they prioritize Tethers?
That African students have been arrested in our demonstrations in the South. They speak French.
When they have been mistaken for the so-called Negro in America, they've been...
Hold on. He said, you're not aware that Africans have been arrested. Malcolm X said, yeah, when they have been mistaken. Hold on. Malcolm X said, yeah, when they have been mistaken for Negroes in America. So that means we different. Was Malcolm saying we different? Malcolm was saying we look alike, but we different. Ain't that what they mistaken identity? Yeah, they got arrested when it was a mistaken identity. They thought it was one of us. Ain't that what he's saying? Am I tripping? Am I trying to remix what he's saying? Am I putting words in his mouth? Am I misinterpreting what he's saying? Y'all help me out, fam. Y'all help me out, fam. I don't want to put no spin on it. He said, if Tethers were so dumb, how did they scam the United States out of billions? Because they had assistants. They were allowed to. Eh? They're not no masterminds and just pulled off some mastermind heist. They were assisted with those scams. Okay? You had a lot of these Democratic officials who were turning a blind eye to a lot of those scams. That's how they pulled it off. That's exactly what he's saying, right? I ain't tripping. I ain't tripping, right? He said, yeah, they got arrested when they were mistaken. Hold on, let's play the video. Let's play the video. I don't want y'all to think I'm trying to remix history or nothing like that.
Arrested. What I'm saying is that I think you're right there. I would not limit our employment demands to Negroes. I would include Puerto Ricans and other minorities throughout our country.
So I wouldn't just limit our programs to just the Negroes. Look, this is the same argument that we're having right now. This was civil rights leader James Farmer that he's debating with on this show here, by the way. This is James Farmer. And now James Farmer, I don't know too much about him. I mostly only know him from these clips. Him and Malcolm X used to go at it. And he was a coon of his day. He was a coon of his day. But I got to give him a little bit of props, though, because he did later on, after Malcolm died, he did apologize and admit that Malcolm was right about a lot of things. I give him a little bit of props because he did admit that Malcolm was right about a lot of things. Later on, after Malcolm died already, he came and apologized, you know what I'm saying, for some of the things that he was saying. And he admitted that Malcolm was right about a lot of things that he was saying. But the reason why I really give him some credit is because James Farmer, he was the only, from what I understand, he was the only major civil rights leader who attended Malcolm X's funeral. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that? That most of them civil rights leaders didn't even go to Malcolm's funeral? They didn't even go pay respect to the man after he was assassinated? Did y'all know that? James Farmer, this nigga that's on this video cooning it up, was the only one that went and paid his respect. So I give him a little bit of props. I give him a little bit of props. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to understand, a lot of our people have been brainwashed. You know what I'm saying? You could tell he's educated and all of that. He went through their system. He's indoctrinated with this program. He's trained to regurgitate these talking points. You know what I'm saying? But he's also a foundational Black American. And so eventually, that's the thing about foundational Black Americans. Eventually, when you hear the truth, it's going to start to sizzle in your spirit. When you got a nigga like Malcolm X spitting that truth at you, if you're a foundational Black American, you come from this lineage, that shit going to start to sizzle in your spirit, and all that cooning ain't going to sit right with you for too long. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? And so I give him a little bit of props because he did come around later on and say, yo, you know what, man? I used to be going at it with Malcolm on TV, and a lot of shit he was saying, he was right about. You know what I'm saying? And he went and paid respect to the man at his funeral. I give him his props for that because he was the only one. He was the only one. Now let's continue with the video a little bit.
Which have been similar.
Hold on. Did I? Hold on. Let me show you. Okay, yeah. Should be good. All right.
Discriminated against.
But I forgot what I was saying. My bad. He was saying we shouldn't just set aside these programs just for Negroes. We need to share it with all minorities. That was his argument. That was his argument. Is if they get pulled over by the police, they ain't gonna ask where they from. If they get pulled over by the police, they're going to do them the same way they do us. That's what he was saying. It's the same shit we hear today. Ain't no different. And what Malcolm X is saying in response is the same shit that we saying today. So like I said, this video right here, this closes the door on the conversation. This answers the question. Would Malcolm X agree with delineation? Let's hear it from him.
Though not for so long a period of time as Negroes.
Puerto Ricans weren't enslaved. Yeah, this is a problem that stems from slavery. And this compensation, yes, sir, this compensation is coming to people who were enslaved by the white man for 400 years. The Puerto Ricans don't even fit into this picture.
Well, they do fit into it.
No,
they do fit into
the problem is the Negro problem. They're not lynching Puerto Ricans.
If a dark-skinned Puerto Rican went down to Mississippi, he probably would be lynched too.
Spanish, he wouldn't be lynched.
No, they don't.
It's the Negro here, and as long as he can speak Spanish or some other language, or if he ties his head up with a turban or something, he can go anywhere in Mississippi or in your home that he desires.
You're not aware of the fact, are you, that African students have been arrested in our demonstrations in the South?
When they
speak French.
When they have been mistaken for the so-called Negro in America, they've been arrested.
What I am saying is that I think you're right there.
Yeah, so that answers the question right there, ladies and gentlemen. That answers the question right there, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely 100% Malcolm X would have been team delineation. He was calling out Tethers. In that first clip that I played, he was calling out Tethers for not saying shit at the UN. And in this clip right here, he was saying, no, compensation got to go to the American Negroes, foundational Black Americans. Not all these other people that kind of look like us a little bit. No, they ain't got nothing to do with this. He was delineating back then. He was delineating before us. He was way ahead of his time. And that's what James Farmer really said later on when he came back and apologized. When he said Malcolm X was right about a lot of things, he said, yo, he was ahead of his time. He was ahead of his time. And he said Malcolm really was helping us because when they heard how Malcolm was talking, Malcolm was shaking shit up so bad, they come running to them saying, okay, can we make a deal with y'all? They didn't want to hear that shit Malcolm X was talking about. So they was like, yo, you know what, James Farmer, come over here. John Lewis, come on. Can we make a deal with y'all? Because your man tripping over here. What we going to do about your man over here? You know what I'm saying? Your man, I don't know what type of time he on, but we need to do something. We going to get something done for y'all, okay? We got this minority bill. How's this? Can we do this? Will this work? We got this minority bill for you guys. And James Farmer then was like, yeah, right on. Yeah. And that fucked us up for the next 60 years. That fucked us up for the next 60 years. But yeah, Malcolm would have been with us 100%. 100%. Shout out to Flapper Girl. Malcolm X wasn't ahead of his time. He just wasn't afraid to tell the truth. Farmer was afraid and behind the times. I don't know. I don't know. The majority of Black Americans at that time, and really up until within the last decade, were not distinguishing themselves from other Black people around the world. So in that respect, I say Malcolm X was ahead of his time. He was making a distinction. He delineated, especially when it came to compensation. He wasn't saying everybody should be compensated for what we had to go through. He was saying, no, we have a unique plight over here that everybody else shouldn't be included in. We're not going to water down this issue by trying to include everybody else in it. It's not that he had anything against them. Same with us. He was just saying like, no. What y'all doing? What y'all getting all in the front of the line and shit? This ain't got nothing to do with y'all. Look, we already kicked down the door so y'all can get over here. Y'all have a seat over there. You know, you're not pissing in the stream no more. You're not wiping your ass with leaves no more. You over here. Sit your ass down somewhere and let us handle our business. Let us handle our business and let us get what's supposed to be coming to us. This ain't got nothing to do with y'all. Malcolm X's internationalism, particularly in his final years, shifted the Black American struggle from a domestic civil rights issue to a global human rights movement. That sound like you, Jay Catholic. That sound like you copy and pasted that from Google or ChatGPT or something. But I don't disagree with it. I don't disagree with it. Malcolm X was trying to form a global coalition, which many of our civil rights leaders and no, I'm gonna say civil rights leaders, but many of our black leaders and revolutionaries had the same idea. They were trying to form a global coalition, and we was with that. We, as his constituents, we was with that. We was like, yeah, we was behind him on that. We backed him up on that. That resonated with us. But the problem is, the rest of the global black community didn't agree with him on that. They didn't back him up on that. They didn't get behind him on that. It was only us. The message only resonated with us. It didn't resonate globally. That's the problem. Where you from, J Catholic 7? Where's your family from? Let me see. I think Black American people giving other giving other minorities the benefit of the doubt and got hurt in the process. Yeah. It seemed legit at the time. Yeah. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. But yeah, damn, we've been chopping it up for a good minute already. We've been chopping it up for a good minute already. It was a couple other things I wanted to talk to y'all about. Well, I guess we're not going to be able to get to some of the other stuff that's going on out here today. But we're not going to act like Malcolm X wasn't intelligent enough. We're not going to act like Malcolm X wasn't intelligent enough if he was here today and he had to hear bullshit like this, that he wouldn't have said nothing. We're not going to act like Malcolm X didn't have the intelligence to understand that this is a problem right here.
Gets checked by them laughing over black Americans. I know why they say that, because I've been in them rooms when they saying that. When I kick it with black people and they're like, all white people are racist. I know why you're saying that. All the while, I have the privilege and luxury of not having generational trauma because my parents were born in Nigeria. So then my method is removing some of the sting because I don't have that sting and trying to deliver a message in a manner that people can receive it. Primarily white people.
Okay. We're not going to act like Malcolm X would have just been cool with that type of shit. He wouldn't have understood why that was a problem. We just going to act like he wouldn't have understood why that was a problem. He would have just still been on some kumbaya shit. You know? Hold on. We ain't going to act like if Malcolm X, hold on. We ain't going to act like if Malcolm X was on Twitter. If Malcolm X was here right now and he was logging on Twitter and seeing shit like this, he wouldn't have understood the problem.
The group I hate the most is Black Americans. I hate them the most.
If you make a list of like the best black people, a lot of them are African Americans.
Yeah.
But if you make a list of the worst black people, the African Americans, like they hold us back, will bring us forward.
Literally.
Like 10 steps forward, 10 steps
back.
They
got Martin Luther King, but then they got Sexy Red. I mean, it's not just Black Americans, it's just Americans in general are just stupid.
Now, if there was like a country that wasn't on Earth, it would be America. Like, I honestly believe that people, when you go to America, you leave the planet. Like, they'll be surprised that like flipping Russia,
black people
like Russia and Germany are not next to each other. They're like, everything in Europe is just one road.
Literally. Imagine, I'm in Europe, like, oh yeah, I got a cousin in Europe. Where's he from? He's
like,
from Luxembourg. We're not in the same Europe.
What I'm saying, but they're like, yeah, man, I'm coming to Europe, man. Let's link up, man. I'm coming to Europe, man. They arrive, they call me. Where are you, man? I'm like, yo, bro, I'm in Manchester. Where are you? Yeah, man, I'm in Sweden right now. Over there, yeah, like they're convinced that whatever's happening there,
that's right.
Like that's it.
That's what's meant to be.
They don't know life outside of America.
The group I hate the most is Black Americans.
The people I hate the most is Black Americans. You know, we ain't gonna act like Malcolm X wouldn't have understood the problem. Now he was intelligent. Yeah, Malcolm X was very intelligent. You know, but he ain't have Instagram and Twitter and all of that. You know, we wasn't able to communicate with each other the way that we're able to communicate now and be able to you know, trade notes with each other and really dialogue and share our experiences with each other like that in real time. You know what I'm saying? And there wasn't so many of them here at the time either. There was only a handful of black immigrants over here at that time. It wasn't like it was a bunch of immigrants over here, millions of immigrants over here like it is now. You know what I'm saying? So it was a different time. But if he was here now and he went on Instagram and he saw some shit like this.
What do you call a black man in America? What do you call a black man in America? A nigga, 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 nigga.
Come on now. Come on now, family. I mean, something got to be done about that. Something got to be done about that. How we going to unite with that? How we going to unify with that? How we going to form a coalition with that? You know what I'm saying? And shout out to my co-host, Nicety Girl. She sent this video. I don't know what this video is. Hold on. She sent me a video. She knew what the topic was going to be for today's episode. I don't know what this video is about, but let's see what Nicety Girl sent before we get up out of here. We're going to wind down in a minute. So let's hear what Malcolm X is talking about in this video right here. I'm not sure what this is.
Understood her correctly, she was implying as to why I would think that this country, this good country as she described it, is so bad, and at the same time, why don't I leave? It's easy for me to leave.
I don't know. Is he talking about an African sister said that? Was it an African woman that asked him that? Why is he complaining about this good country? He said somebody asked him, why is he complaining about this good country? And if he got a problem, why he don't leave? I don't know if that was a white woman or if that was a tether. I don't know who he's talking about. But Nicety sent me this video. I don't know who he's talking about. She said, this good country. Why you complaining about this good country? That sounds like a tether. Good as they treat us over here, what y'all complaining about? Why you over here shaking up shit this good in this good country? That sounds like a tether. That probably was a tether that said that to him. I don't know, though. I don't know.
And I doubt that there's any country on the African continent in which I couldn't live other than perhaps South Africa. And I frankly believe I could live there. I could live there because I would stir up our people there and try and bring about a change, and not non-violently.
Yeah, and she said, if you got a problem with it, why don't you go back to Africa? Or why don't you leave? He said, I could probably go to Africa. I could probably go to Africa and be comfortable. He said, yeah, they'll probably accept me in Africa, especially in South Africa, because they know I'm coming over there. I'm going to shake shit up. You know what I'm saying? He said, yeah, if I go over there, I'm going to stir shit up. I'm going to rile the people up over there. I'm going to get niggas on cold. We're going to get some act right. We ain't going to have 13 Afrikaans, white people over here running shit. Nah, I'm gonna get everybody on code, and we're gonna oust these motherfuckers. If I go over there, that's what Malcolm was saying. He said, "Yeah, I can go over there if I wanted to do that." Let me hear the rest. Hold on.
Anytime you comprise 11 million of the people, and you only got 2 million people who are a minority ruling you, it's only because you have the wrong philosophy.
Right. He said, anytime you got a population, you got 11 million Negroes over here, and y'all being ruled by 2 million white people, a minority. It's 11 million of y'all, and y'all letting them smack you around like that. He said, no, the problem is your mindset. The problem is your mindset. So if I come over there, we're going to shake shit up. I bring these teachings over there. We gonna shake shit up. Huh?
So, insofar as going someplace else and living someplace else, that's very easy for me to do. But at the same time, I have to take into consideration that our people collectively have a problem here. And me being able to go someplace and live comfortably and happily, I don't think that I could ever do it. My mind couldn't rest as long as I knew that our people were still in this country being bitten by police dogs and brutalized by the clubs of police and washed down the sewer by the fire hoses of the people in this good country, as she calls it. So, when I was in Accra, I met many Afro-Americans.
Yeah, so he's saying, she said, man, why you complaining about this good country over here? It's better than that. It's better than that shithole I just came from. You complaining about these good white folks over here? Hush up all that noise, man. He said, yeah, sure. I could go, probably myself, I could go over there and be comfortable, you know. But that's not going to change the condition of my people. I would have to forget about the condition of the masses of my people and just worry about myself. I can't do that in good conscience. I can't do that in good consciousness. No, that wouldn't sit right in my spirit. I ain't built like that. I can't do that. I ain't gonna just leave my people over here, knowing the conditions and the shit that they got to go through over here, and I'm just gonna go over here and carve out a little comfortable spot for myself because I'm Malcolm X. You know, I'm a prominent figure, so yeah, I could go over there and be welcomed, and they'll take me in. But if I try to bring, I don't know how many of it was back then, how many Black Americans it was back then at the time. But if we talk about today's time, if I try to bring 40, 43, 45 million Negroes with me, are they going to take all of us? Or are they just going to take me because I'm a prominent Negro? You know what I'm saying? He said, no, I can't do that. That wouldn't sit right in my spirit.
Americans who were over there who had been very strong fighters while they were in this country. And they had escaped. They went over there as expatriates, as exiles. And they were living very happy. They were some of the most progressive people here. They're over there now in Ghana living happy. So I actually insulted them because I was asking them, how could they know that our people in this country are catching so much hell? And they live over there like the battle is over. Well, it struck their conscience. And having struck their conscience, they were able to see that the people from South Africa who lived in Ghana had formed freedom fighters headquarters. And the people from Angola who lived in Ghana had formed freedom fighters headquarters. So having stirred them up, I think you'll be reading soon where the Afro-American over there in all of those countries is also setting up headquarters of Afro-American freedom fighters who are becoming interested as fighting for the freedom and the liberation of the blacks in this country who are being colonized by the American white man. The same as the blacks in South Africa are colonized by that white man, and the blacks in Angola are also colonized by that white man. So
that's deep. That's deep. So he said when he went to Ghana, he's seen some foundational Black American expatriates over there just living it up. They fled. He went over there, he came across some fleers. They got away from the situation over there, found them a little comfortable spot over there, and forgot about the rest of us. Malcolm X said, yo, what the fuck? What type of time y'all on? He said, I seen that shit. He said, what type of time y'all on? He said, y'all just over here chilling? Knowing what the fuck is going on with our people back home? Y'all just over here hiding out and all that? And so what he do? Like he said he would do when he go over there. He said, I'm going to shake shit up when I go over there. So what he do? He said, look. Because there were some South Africans that also, I don't know if you want to call it expatriated, but they moved to Ghana. There were some South Africans that moved over to Ghana, but they were revolutionaries. And so when they got to Ghana, they set up revolutionary headquarters. They were building organizations of freedom fighters in Ghana. They used Ghana basically as a safe haven from the conditions that they were going through in South Africa so that they can build and get their strength up. But they didn't forget about their people though. They were organizing. You know what I'm saying? They were getting shit together. They found themselves a little safe haven where they could think and strategize. But the Black Americans that he found over there, they wasn't even on that type of time. They was over there hiding, basically. And he said, nah. And he said, I don't know what type of time y'all on. I don't know what y'all got going on over here. But nah, y'all better set up some goddamn headquarters so y'all can start doing some shit on the continent to help our people back home. You know what I'm saying? He said, and so now, since I left Ghana, I think you're going to be hearing real soon about some Afro-American organizations popping up over there that are on some freedom fighter type of time. Yeah. Come on, Malcolm X was a rider, family. Rider. In the purest sense of the word, of the term. Rider. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, family. Yeah, y'all can't hide behind Malcolm. Y'all can't hide behind Malcolm. Y'all can't try to weaponize Malcolm. He was too much of a rider. He was too much of a rider, and you too much of a coward. Like I said, he's one of ours. But shout out to y'all family, man. I know it's All-Star weekend. I don't know what time the game come on, but I know they got the All-Star game on tonight. Some of y'all probably going to check that out. I don't know what time it come on. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock now, so it's probably on now. But shout out to y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Me and Nice to be back next week around the same time. Make sure y'all check us out for that. And, you know, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be dropping content throughout the week as well. It's a couple of videos that I wanted to do some reactions to. I think I want to do a review of the Jill Scott album. I do want to do a review of the Jill Scott album. It's hard to do music reviews, man. For me, it's hard to do music reviews with integrity. I got a problem with a lot of the music reviews that are out there because people just want to be first. And I ain't on that type of time just to be first, just to have a take. And, you know, you're just doing it for the clicks and the views. And it's kind of fucking up the music right now. You know what I'm saying? Kind of fucking up the music. It's depreciating the music. And I don't like that. And so I want to do reviews, but I want to do thorough reviews. And so in order to really do that, you have to take time. You have to let the music marinate in your spirit. You got to live with the music for a while. So I'm probably not going to do it right away. I'm definitely not going to do the J. Cole one right away. That's the whole double album. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to let the music sizzle in my spirit for a while before I do an official review. But the Jill Scott album is incredible. I could say that right now. That's my review so far. The shit is incredible. Top to bottom. And it's so necessary. It's so necessary right now. That Jill Scott album, if you haven't heard it, go push play after you get off of here. It's incredible. Shout out to Street Nasty Entertainment. Jill Scott is dope and beautiful. Absolutely. Absolutely. So eventually I'm going to do a review of her album. I'm going to do a review of the J. Cole album. Still a lot of other new joints I got to catch up on. I listened today to the new Ransom and Boldy James EP that they put out. That joint is hard. Ransom is on a run right now. Boldy James too, both of them. Them niggas is on a run right now, man. Putting in work. Just dropping EPs back to back, left and right. I like it. What else I got to catch up on? Hold on. What else I missed? I know Terrace Martin, he dropped something new. I got to listen to that. Terrace Martin. Is this an album or EP? Oh, he got a whole album. Terrace Martin dropped an album called Peace. I got to listen to that. Hit Boy and Spank Nitty James. I don't know who Spank Nitty James is. So that's not really a priority. Shout out to Hit Boy. I like Hit Boy. I don't know who Spank Nitty James is. Razcast put out something. Razcast put out something called Leopard Eats Face. I definitely got to see what that's about. Razcast is a spitter. What else? Okay, that's it for now, I think. That's it for now. But like I said earlier, man, right now, the Fall Off album is in heavy rotation. Jill Scott album is in heavy rotation. Oh, Nipsey Hussle dropped a new single. Did y'all hear that? They got a new Nipsey Hussle song out. What's it called? Recently played. It's called Reckless. Nipsey Hussle and Bino Radu. I think that's how you say it. Bino Radu or Bino Radu. But new Nipsey Hussle joint called Reckless. They dropping a Nipsey Hussle album this summer, I believe. We're gonna get a new Nipsey Hussle album this summer, I believe. But I like the song. It's real short, you know what I'm saying? They gotta work with what they gotta work with. It's just like a verse and a hook. I think they both did it, you know what I mean? It's like 2 minutes long or something like that. You know, it makes you wish it was more to it, but you know, the marathon continues. The marathon continues. So I'm looking forward to the Nipsey project. You know what I mean? See what they do with that. Also, for my trapped in the 90s niggas, for my old heads, EPMD got a new single out. That shit hard. Did y'all hear that? Produced by DJ Scratch. This is the first time they did a record in I don't know how long. Hold on. What's the name of their song? Is that the new one? Oh. Test Me? Is that it? Yeah. It's called Test Me, remixed by DJ Scratch. That shit hard, man. That shit hard. EPMD sound fresh. EPMD sound fresh. A lot of some, not a lot, but some of these old school niggas come out, they shit sound dated. They sound like nah, hang it up, my nigga. Nah, EPMD sound fresh. Speaking of that, the RZA put out a project with the Juice Crew. Did y'all hear that? I only listened to it one time. The RZA put out a project with the Juice Crew. What's it called? Where is it? Where is it? Let me see. Hold on. RZA presents the Juice Crew, I think. Bobby Digital presents. Bobby Digital presents the Juice Crew. Did y'all listen to that? I don't think I'm gonna be bumping it like that. Big Daddy Kane on there, Cool G Rap on there, Craig G on there, Roxanne Shante on there. MC Shan on there. I only listened to it one time, but I think that's the best song. I think the Shan song is the best song on there. Surprisingly. Shan shit sound all right. I kind of like the Shan joint a little bit. But the rest of it, the Craig G did one. He got one song on there where he paying homage to Roxanne Shante. He did like a you know how Nas did a autobiography of Malcolm X. Did an autobiography of Rakim. He did some shit like that for Roxanne Shante. That was cool. I wasn't too mad at that. That was cool. Kane joint on there. It's whatever. The Big Daddy Kane joint to me is whatever. And then Granddaddy IU, Cool G Rap, Craig G. I don't really remember that one that much. And then Roxanne Shante, she got one on there. I don't know. Maybe they should have kept that one. I don't know about that project right there. I don't think I'm gonna be bumping it personally. No, I'm not trying to disrespect the legends. I just wasn't really feeling it like that. Method Man and Kelly Rowland did a new song for their new movie. Okay, I gotta check that out. I want to see the movie too, man. They kind of look good together, don't they? I think she married, and Meth married. Meth been married for a long time, but they kind of look like a good looking couple together. Yeah, Bobby Digital presents the Juice Crew. I ain't really like it, but that's just me. Y'all go check it out. You might like it. That's just me. But I got to get out of here, family. Again, I appreciate y'all tapping in with me today, man. That does it for today's episode of Sincere Love the Godcast. Always remember, family, I am not the master teacher. I am only the master student and signal booster for the voices of the new black media. I'm up out of here. Peace.